stream, folks. Restream.com. And we're officially live on Restream.com. And this will be uploaded to YouTube. Chris Ransom, Joseph Potter here. We've been recapping the Hall of Fame game on TalkShoe. And Mekhi Becton, I was just about to get into Mekhi Becton because Mekhi Becton looked good. He looked good for the Jets. The problem is Mekhi Becton got injured in practice on Friday. He got carted off the field. So now the Jets don't have Mekhi Becton or Duane Brown. So the Jets, if they can't have either one of those left tackles for week one, it's going to be either A, start right tackle Billy Turner at left tackle against Von Miller. Choice B is going to be to start the Max Mitchell. He was a left tackle and right tackle at Louisiana, but he's a better right tackle in the NFL. The tape shows that, Joey. And the third choice would be to start Carter Warren out of Pittsburgh, another Shrine Game player I interviewed on that Saturday before the AFC Championship. And maybe that's the guy you were thinking of, Carter Warren, the 4th round pick the Jets made out of Pittsburgh. It's funny because I had DeJuan Jones graded higher than Carter Warren, but Carter Warren got drafted ahead of DeJuan Jones. And DeJuan Jones went in the 5th round and Carter Warren went in the 4th round. And I remember saying DeJuan Jones may have boosted his stock from a 3rd round prospect to a 2nd round prospect because I thought DeJuan Jones was outstanding at the Senior Bowl and he's outstanding at the Combine. I have no idea why he dropped to the 5th round. He was Ken LeBlanc's #1 offensive tackle. And even CJ Cuevas, who's a 49ers fan, thought he belonged in round 2.
I did hear a few things. One was his weight, and that they didn't know if he could control his weight. 2 was the fundamentals. For some reason, he overlooked results. Saw that, add that to his weight, and they felt it was enough for him to drop. I would have taken his ass anyway. You get results, you get results.
Yeah, I had DeJuan Jones ahead of Carter Warren on my board. That's not a knock on Carter Warren because that young man was outstanding in his interview. He talked about Abanconda. He talked about the Pitt players in this year's college football team that we're going to get to later in the podcast. He talked about Addison. He talked about Kenny Pickett. He talked about everybody on that Pitt Panthers organization that won the ACC title. So he praised everybody and his leadership, but he was dealing with an injury that kept him from playing in the Shrine Game, but he interviewed exceptionally well. And that's probably why he got picked ahead of DeJuan Jones. NFL teams probably saw interviewed him, and what Carter Warren's, that the Jets, I guess some of the teams that interviewed Carter Warren at Pitt's Pro Day asked him, can you play multiple positions besides left tackle? Because he's a 4-year starter at left tackle. And he said, yeah, I can play tackle, right tackle. I can play guard. I can play wherever you need me to play. That's what Carter Warren told NFL teams in the interview process. And I guess that helped him get drafted ahead of DeJuan Jones because it's interesting because DeJuan Jones is a Senior Bowl guy from Ohio State. Carter Warren's a Shrine Bowl guy from Pitt. You wouldn't think Warren would get drafted ahead of Jones, but Warren interviewed exceptionally well.
All of that culminated in a very good debut game for him.
Because I thought
he looked really good.
Yeah, Mekhi Becton was amazing at left tackle in the first half for the Jets, and in the second half, Carter Warren picked up right where Becton left off. So it's like the Jets have 2 quality left tackles on their hands if DeJuan Brown's out.
Something that I heard, I don't know how true it is, was that they were looking to potentially move Mekhi Becton to the right side, but they didn't say who they wanted on the left side.
And with DeJuan Brown on the PUP list, it's kind of a big deal because right now, if DeJuan Brown and Mekhi Becton are both out for week 1, your options at left tackle are Billy Turner, who is awful at right tackle. In fact, that Our Lads has him listed as the Jets.
Awful, period.
I mean, Billy Turner was awful at right tackle for the Broncos. And he's listed as the Jets' blind side on Our Lads. And I don't think Billy Turner would make a good left tackle. He would get curb stomped by Von Miller. Von Miller could curb stomp Billy Turner with one hand tied behind his back. That's kind of a testament to how good Von Miller is and how bad Billy Turner is at the same time. Like, yeah, that's just.
Yeah, let's face it, Chris.
The other options are Max Mitchell, who played left tackle and right tackle at Louisiana. Oren did not like Max Mitchell's left tackle tape at Louisiana, but I thought he was a much better fit at right tackle. Like, if you watched his left tackle tape, it was awful. But if you watched Max Mitchell at right tackle, he was surprisingly competent there. And the other third choice is Carter Warren, and I would go with Carter Warren. I would start Carter Warren. I'm unconventional. I know it's crazy, Joey, but if both Dwan Brown and Mekhi Becton are injured and neither can go at left tackle against Von Miller, I think your best bet is to throw Carter Warren in there. If you do the conservative thing or the safe thing, like play Billy Turner in there, it's going to be like when the Colts started that left tackle last year. I forget his name. Not Bernard Raymond, the other guy. The guy they brought in from the Eagles who was just awful at left tackle, who got benched.
One thing game for these. We're going to start at least 2 games because of the performance in the Hall of Fame. That's huge for somebody like late round prospect. If you get an extra game to start because you played so well in the first one, the extra game, that's huge for him. And if he performs really well as a starter in the next 3, that's a...
Because I had a starter grade on Carter Warren. Carter Warren was like the last left tackle I had a starter grade on in the draft. And it's mainly because, A, I watched his pit tape before he got injured. Because they were going to, if Carter Warren had declared for last year's draft as a junior redshirt, he would have played in the Senior Bowl with Pickett. Nagy gave him an invite, but he chose to go back to college. So that's how high people were on. And then when he got injured, Nagy was like, I'm going to go with a different tackle instead of just sticking it out with Carter Warren and waiting for him to recover from his injury and having the patience to stick with him. Because if you thought Carter Warren was a top 100 player after his junior redshirt year, but you just gave up on him because he got injured and because other tackles emerged in what was a pretty deep tackle class, I would have kept going with Carter Warren because I knew as soon as I got my media pass the Shrine game, I knew Carter Warren was a player I was going to try to get an interview with because that was a player that Nagy invited him to the Senior Bowl, but he just wanted to go back to college and get his degree. And you can't really fault the man for that. I mean, he wanted to show he could be the leader of the Pitt football team without Kenny Pickett and Addison. He wanted to show he could. That was his reasoning for.
Well, I'll never, ever, ever fault somebody for going back for the right reasons. Whether it's because
that's a good reason to go back. If you want to prove to yourself that you can be the leader of the offense, if you want to prove you can be the leader, the alpha, and the man of the offense with Pickett and Addison gone, that's a good reason to go back to college. That's a hell of a reason to go back.
Because you want to show you're a leader, standing person. Because this is not just about how there are people that have. Colt McCoy is a main backup. He has great.
He's flexible. Okay with being the backup. That's the crazy thing. Sam Bradford, Jim T. Jim Colt McCoy. You get what you want about Colt McCoy, but he's had the longest career for.
And you know, and that's I would Colt McCoy come back to play simply because
Matt, that's the left tackle. I that do not start. So there, Joe. I know he was off, but the Jets situation is very similar to the Colts situation. Joey, like Matt Meyer is hard to see what happens.
Like, yeah, good somebody who's good as a backup, never touched their position, put him in for a few, and he's happy. He said, "Oh, they."
Matt is not.
Well, Chris, I know like their guy, so his name. Packers, they all for to start and
Yeah, you're talking YouTube irritating Ross Packers fan.
no, this is a different one. A different. Yeah, he always does the NFL. And he's different.
Going to college football, do you want to share with the because we're a live Joey on live, so it is working and been on live stream for over minutes. We think people live stream about the game discussed on two in the first hour. We pivot college football.
If you get NFL, any of those things, this whole thing the past several years, he locked great talent really well. I own the NBA coverage stock.
And put into last year's game between the Raiders and Jags was a blowout. That was a massive